Beyond bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, flips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises. It just had to be. Dax corner and it goes. Glad towards goal, and Rovers have taken the lead. And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season.
Hi, I'm Morten Pedersen, and you're watching Rovers Chat.
Hello, Rovers Chat. How are we all doing? I hope we're all having a good Thursday night, and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I am hosting my first ever show on this channel, to be fair, and it's weird being on the other side, starting up the channel. So we're going to start off by introducing our guest today. Scott, how are we doing?
I'm good, Dom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I think once Matt heard that I was hosting today, he decided to scupper away. And obviously, as the host, I am a bit of a diva, so I've got Dan in the background doing the overlays. So we're going to talk about the premise of the show. And this, Thursday Night Live is all about fan interactions and all about getting you guys involved. Because to be honest with you, I don't know about you, Scott, but I think the viewers know more than myself after a couple of live streams. I was Googling every single time on different sort of players over the last few years before our time, per se. But we're going to talk about what we... but first of all, before that, we're going to talk about the FCAs. So what you can do is, in the description below, there was meant to be a video, but I'm not too sure. I forgot what was mentioned before. But in the description below, we're in the last 8, and we need your guys' votes, because what the problem is that we're against teams like Sunderland, who have a big fan base. So the more votes, the better. And it is really simple. I'm pretty stupid on technology, and it took me 10 seconds to do. Scott, how many times did you vote? Just the once?
Oh no. Voted quite a few.
Different devices. This is absolutely fine, guys. But we put a poll out on Twitter the other day before the FCAs were announced that we had strikers in the last 10 years. We had kits of the last 10 years. We had captains since 2000, and one that was mentioned last, and I knew that was going to be the one that was going to be mentioned, was the worst XI since 2012. Look at Luke Vine in there. Look at that wonderful kit with no sponsor on it. And going through the sort of research the last few days, I'm understanding why now that we're in the position that we are. And let's say between 2013 and 2016, there is a glut of players that we're going to talk about now.
It's a rough time.
There is a bit of a so they've got to play at least 5 games for us. That's the only caveat. So as 7788 has mentioned in the chat, he's put Murphy, Cadiz, Jan Sanogo, Paulo Jorge, Fabio Nunes, Diogo Rosado. There's a lot. Wow. Jordan Slew. The list goes on. Now, we could have included a few of them players, but I'm sad to say that only a couple of them are going to be mentioned on this XI, because a lot of them didn't play 5 games, essentially. They were that bad for us. They didn't even play that many. So, obviously, what we're going to start off is with goalkeepers. Now, the nominees are Sando Mierski. He played 8 appearances in 2012-13. He now plays for, in Greece, Lavadiakos. And there he is. We couldn't get a picture of him. Number 2 is Simon Eastwood, 20 appearances between 2013 and 16. He now plays at Oxford. Jason Steele, 120 appearances for Blackburn between 2014 and 17. He now plays at Brighton. That's the most surprising so far, I'd say. Jason Lutweiler, there he is. 13 appearances between 2017 and 2020. He now plays in the National League with Oldham. Christian Walton just had the 1 season with us, 46 games that season as well. It's a good picture of him, isn't it? He plays for Ipswich. And last on our list is Ainsley Pears, who's got 7 so far. And he's still at Rovers. He's an ever-present. Scott, is there anyone on that list that that you could add to it?
Oof. Other than the one that I mentioned before we started, Jake Keane, I don't think so.
Yeah, there was Jake Keane, and there was a couple others that we could have mentioned in the last couple of days that we were trying to get the list. But we feel like Jake, the sort of the promise that Jake Keane had at Rovers was, and he went to obviously Norwich and Derby and etc. And we thought, he, on this list there are 6 worse than him. To be honest with you, I think that's what it is. Are we? How should we do this then? Are we going to do it like we're going to eliminate the names that we don't want, or are we going to pick the ones that we do want? Essentially, in this XI.
Let's pick the ones we want.
Right. Okay. So it's very cynical. This I'm going to pick, and I think because he was only there for 1 season, I'm going to go with Christian Walton as our worst goalkeeper. I think for me, for such a large, he had a good game, I think, against Hull. I think he did save a penalty, like Brian's just saying, like exactly what I just said. For a big man, he should be commanding in the box, but he seemed to crumple every single cross. And as soon as we got somebody with such safe hands like David Raya and before him and the one we have now, Kaminsky. Kaminsky we got now. I think that just shows how woeful he was, and I don't think he's even the number 1 at Ipswich right now. Who are you going to go with, Scott?
Well, I'm going to say I was really, really close to agreeing with you, but for me, it's got to be Jason Steele. Okay. Honestly, I think the only thing that wins it for Jason Steele is we had to put up with him for longer.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah,
the amount of times he'd get. I mean, all right, I get that TK comes out sometimes and nearly gets caught out, but the distance he used to come away from his box, it was scary. It was so scary.
Yeah,
and I think he was just consistently awful. How he is with Brighton now, I don't know. Like when you said like he's playing for Brighton, my instant thought, well, he's not, though, is he? He's not. He's just sat at Brighton getting paid.
I think he was with Walton as well at Brighton, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing
honestly,
down there.
I've no idea. But yeah, Jason Steele wins it for me.
Yeah, I think that's a great shot. I think Jason Steele is the other one that I would have mentioned as well. And just because he's played there for longer, I think he has to be our goalkeeper. And even if you go on, if anyone wants to go on Wikipedia right now and start typing his name, if you look at his picture, that just sums him up. He looks so small in that goal. I don't. So Jason Steele, there he is, punch in the air. I'm sure it's for this award. But round of applause to Jason Steele for being our goalkeeper. Worst goalkeeper of the last 10 seasons. That's impressive, to be fair. That is a whole 3,000 days that he's got to compete with other goalkeepers. Now, we're going to go on to the right back award for worst right back of the last 10 years. And to clarify, this is from the 12-13 season. So that is the first season we were down in the Championship, the Steve Keane, Mark Clapperton, Henning Berg season. So this is a good start. Bradley Orr. Look at that. 34 appearances in 3 seasons, finishing in 2014. He is now retired. I think he's a play area owner. He owns like a plush, like a creche sort of place. Bruno Ribeiro. Look at him. He had 5 appearances, so he just about makes it. He plays for Pelotas. Scott, do you want to guess where Pelotas is?
Is it
Pelotas? Pelotas.
Oh, Italy?
It's the 4th division in Brazil.
Oh, is it?
Serie D, so I mean, you're pretty close. 3rd on our list is Paul Cadiz. 21 appearances in 2 seasons. He's struggling to hit the football right there. That means that shows that he's currently retired. And finally on our list, we struggle for right backs, but Diovasio Zefuik. That sort of sums him up. We don't even have a picture of him, do we? 6 appearances, apparently, though. So he does make the list. He's gone back to Hertha. He was there last season. Now, Scott, who out of them 4? I think this one's it's a foregone conclusion.
For me, it's got to be Bradley Orr. He was absolutely shocking. Like, I don't remember him ever having a good game. He was shocking all the time.
That was the era where nobody had a good game. And I think...
Well, that is true.
And the fact that he stuck out like a sore thumb out of bad players in that era sort of shows how poor he was, not just on the field, but also off I think more off the field, to be honest with you. I think there was that picture of him with the respect and him laughing at it on Twitter that made the rounds. And I don't think Blackburn fans have ever forgiven him since then. He was on the Under the Cosh podcast with someone we're going to mention soon. Don't worry about that, guys. But even when he gives his side of the story, I don't think many fans forgave him. So I think you're right. Bradley Orr.
Yeah, I want to make an honourable mention, though.
Go on.
To Paul Caddis. Like,
yeah.
During that season that he was with us and we were in League One.
Yeah.
Like, even in League One, he was poor. But it was like, you notice from the video of when we got promoted and they were all celebrating, he's just stood in the corner like he doesn't belong.
Yeah. I was just about to mention that video when you mentioned Paul Caddis. He's just stood there with his hands in his pockets and everyone's going mental around him. But adding to Jason Steele is Bradley Orr, and we're looking at a good team so far. Proper, we've got Green Links on Ultimate Team.
Or a bad team, was it, maybe?
It's a bad state of affairs when I'm not the one doing dad jokes. Simon Charles says, Bruno Ribeiro was definitely a scam purchase, but bad as Orr was, Ribeiro seemed to be there as a competition winner. I think a lot of them Portuguese players, the Henriques, the Rosardos at the time that all came from Benfica B, it all seemed like a sort of money laundering scheme, didn't it? Essentially, I don't know who was involved with it, but we didn't we didn't get the benefits anyway. Going on to left back next, our worst left back of the last 10 seasons. This one again was a pretty tough one because left back, right back, there's not many. We don't buy that many defenders, to be honest with you. I think that's what we found out. And I think that's the obvious thing that everyone's been saying the last few seasons, that obvious Marbury quote, like, defenders are coming. Nah, they didn't, did they though? Here are the nominations. Stephen Hendry. There he is. Apparently he doesn't like us anymore. He played 8 appearances in the League One season. He now plays at Queen of the South. Sam Hart, 7 appearances. There he is. Forgot his face. From 2017 to 2020. He was there for a while. Sutton United he's at now. I've just found out today. Amari Bell. There he is. Shushing the fans at the Luton game was a nice, that sort of sums him up. He obviously is at Luton. He played 99 appearances for us. And last but not least, Barry Douglas, who played 31 games in the 2021 season, and he's at Lech Poznan still. I think that's where he left Leeds for when he left us. Now, is there anyone that sticks out of them 4?
I mean, for me, Stephen Hendry sticks out because I remember him coming in, and then after probably the first 2 games, I was like, "Can we send him back?"
He was from West Ham, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought we might be getting a little bit of talent coming in. I was hoping we were going to get some strength back there, and it just wasn't to be, was it?
Oh, he wasn't in the League One season, was he? He was in the season before, wasn't he? I think I misspoke. I think he was in the season with Coyle.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so apologies for that. Should we go around again? Nominations again? It feels like the Moonlight Oscars nomination getting it wrong. But so is that what you're saying, Stephen Hendry?
I think so for me, yeah.
Now, I think I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think this is my most controversial one of the list. He couldn't defend. When he went forward, he couldn't attack. He barely passed. He could barely pass. I can't believe he's had 99 appearances for us. Whenever I seen him on this fixture, this team sheet, I just couldn't get my head around it every season, every game, and I just no man has frustrated me more because of how much promise he has, and yet does nothing about it. I'm gonna have to say Amari Bell. I can't not say him, and there's probably been worse players, but for the promise he's had, and when we got him from Fleetwood, he's so disappointing. Does that make him the worst though? Is that most disappointing rather than worst? Do you think?
I won't even disagree with you actually, because like you said, it was a hugely disappointing thing when he come with all this promise and then failed to deliver in any aspect.
He just couldn't defend. He couldn't attack. What does he do on the pitch? He doesn't do anything.
He ran backwards and forwards, apparently.
Yeah, well, he's having an all right time at Luton, I think. He got to the playoffs, I suppose, so good on him. But so what we're saying? We're saying who we voting for this one? Are we backing Bell or are we going for Hendry?
Go on, we'll back Bell.
Amari Bell. just for my and there he is, Amari Bell, left back. Probably a bit harsh, but because of the lack of options at left back, I think Amari Bell has to be in that. Has to be in there. So we've got the full backs. We're going to go on to the centre backs, and as you can see, I've got the quick list. Centre backs. So nominations for centre back. We're starting off strong with 69 appearances. Shane Duffy. There is his gammon head. From 2014 to 2017, he now plays at Fulham. I found that out today. The second one is Donnell Henry. I've forgotten how he looked like. Seriously, he had 5 appearances and now plays at Toronto. Next up is Elliot Ward. This is where it gets very depressing. Elliot Ward, looking 50 years old there. 30 appearances. He's now retired, shockingly, I know. Next on the list, Gordon Greer. There he is, 20 years after his first appearance for Rovers in the 01 season. He's also retired, shockingly. I think he retired even before then. Wes Brown, next, 6 appearances. I think he retired a season before Rovers. So that's all I need to say about that. And last but not least, Tyler McGlure. 7 appearances between 2018 and 2020. He's now at Northampton. And I think he's having a good time there. So good on him.
Seems to be.
Does anyone stick out for you?
Well, I want to start off by talking about Shane Duffy.
Yes.
I think, for the most part, he was good, then he was bad, then he was even worse. But he did have that spell when he was with Grant Hanley. He had that spell where they did form up quite a good partnership.
Yeah.
At the beginning. And because of that, we're picking 2, right?
Yeah, we've got 2 of these.
My first one is Donnell Henry.
Oh, really? Donnell Henry. Right, okay. 5 appearances.
Because he was that. I mean, when you're that young, I mean, as you saw in the picture, he was a young lad back then. Like, you want to come in and you want to make an impression. and he had his opportunity, and he just never took it. He was never.
Well, he had 2 loan spells with us. That's over 2 seasons.
It's even worse than, isn't it?
So what are you saying? Are you saying those 2?
So no, I'm saying Daniel Henry and Tyler McGlory because, and it's all coming down to that Blackpool game. It was the day after my birthday, and he's ruined my entire birthday. So for that reason,
you're going off personal anecdotes to put him in there, right?
For that reason, he's in my. I've never forgiven for ruining my birthday, so there we go. He's in there.
Let me take you back to Cardiff away. We're in the pits, you know. We have. Let's get this stats. I think Danny Graham scored that game. Bang, own goal, Shane Duffy. Oh, that's all right. Anyone can have one on goal. That's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. Pick your head up, mate. It's absolutely fine. I know you got a transfer bid from Brighton. Don't worry about that one. Get your head in the game. It's fine. 10 minutes later, bang, next own goal. Shane Duffy loves the Cardiff. We're like, all right, okay, 2 on goals, pretty naff, but I think it might have happened once or twice in our lifetime. 2 on goal, he's absolutely fine. Then gets sent off, and then rips off the black armband for Jack Walker and throws it on the ground. So, I mean, for that alone, he's probably the best player out of the lot. But for that alone, I think he has to be in the team. And I mean, just for how Wes Brown evaded your picks, the man had 1 leg for the season, and it was known as a coach. That's how poor he was. I bet he was bought by Coyle because he was a player, and then realized he hasn't even got it anymore. So those are my 2 choices: Wes Brown and Shane Duffy. I mean, Shane Duffy for the disrespect, and Wes Brown for just for being there to collect
being old.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of choices now, and I think we have to go to the viewers for this one. Is it? So that the 2 that we've not picked are Elliot Ward and Gordon Greer. Interesting enough. Elliot Ward, someone says, Naive Steve says Elliot Ward. Brian says Shane Duffy for those 2 on. Yeah. I remember I was coming back from Ibiza on a massive hangover as well, I'll say, on the plane. And I just seen it on my screen. And I was like, oh, God, that's just made it 10 times worse. So Duffy and Brown says Chris G. Only got 2 reasons for Shane Duffy. Chris, yeah. Didn't Henry get injured? Seemed to remember he played well. I mean, if you remember him playing in those games, that's very impressive. This was Rodwell was lucky to escape list. I thought he was all right, Rodwell, when he was in the team, especially at centre back. I seem to remember a game at Millwall where he especially played well. I think he got man of the match. I think Wes Brown is there. I think I'm gonna have to put Wes Brown in because he's been picked a lot. But you can have one of your 2. Oh, no. You have one of your picks and I'll have one of mine.
All right, then. Well, mine's going to be Tyler McGlory because I still don't give him.
Tyler McGlory, and I've got to pick Shane Duffy. It can't be anybody but Shane Duffy, to be honest with you. Wes Brown, you're a lucky man. I know you're watching this, Wes Brown.
He's definitely on the bench.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a coach. That's why he didn't make it.
He's still on touchline.
I mean, as a back 4, it's quite quick, actually, to be fair, isn't it? Like, it's quite a well-rounded back 4. Now
it's going to get into the difficult ones, though.
You think?
Well, there's so many options, isn't there?
That's a nice lead into our next picks. Now, there's going to be 3 in this one, and it's for centre midfield. Pick 3 of these, I dare you. Right. Number 1 on the nominations, as followed: Danny Murphy, 35 appearances, and he's now retired.
Shock.
Dixon Etuhu, 24 appearances. He is currently serving a 5-year ban for match fixing. Match fixing, sorry. So that's 37, so he's probably retired anyway. Jay Spearing, 15 appearances, and he's now currently at Liverpool under 21s. Hope Akpan, 66 appearances. Do you want to guess where he's playing?
You mean he's still playing?
He's still playing.
I have no idea.
He currently plays for Widnes, a town known for its rugby, and I think they're in Northwest Counties League, which is great, isn't it? Danny Guthrie. Next, 44 appearances somehow, and he last played, and I think he still plays there for Fram. Do you want to guess where Fram is? F-R-A-M.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
You're right with that. It's the second division in Iceland. Jack Byrne had the 1 season with us. 7 appearances. He's playing at Shamrock Rovers right now. Ben Gladwin. There he is. 11 appearances. I don't know where they came from. He's now at Swindon still. And last on our list is Rakeem Harper. 9 appearances. He's at Ipswich with good old Christian Walton. So, should we just put Danny Murphy in now?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fine.
There's just no need to even talk about that one.
Yeah, the comments have a lot of Danny Murphy. Well, I can see a few of them anyway. Brian says it twice. He's that bad. Hopeless, wouldn't get another. Yeah. Yeah, and he's probably the worst pundit on BBC as well. Such a gammon, honestly. He 30 grand a week he was on at Rovers, and fair play to him and his agent, I tell you. Now it's a pick of the two. I think what we've got to do now is you can pick one and I can pick the other. I think that'll be the best option for us now.
I wonder if we're going to pick the same person.
Would you like to go first?
Mine is going to be Ben Gladwin.
Right, okay.
How he got as many appearances as he did, I will never know. I can't ever recall him putting in a good performance or doing anything of note. If he wasn't such an iconic waste of money, I would have probably forgot his existence.
Was he a lot of money? I can't even remember if he cost anything, did he? Was he about 100 grand or something like that?
His wages were enough.
Yeah. That's a great shout. I think Ben Gladwin, he was there from 2017 till 2020. Apparently, he was there 3 years, and I think he did his knee. I think he did the same knee twice, didn't he? I think he had like a Bradley Dack situation, but without the,
without the quality,
without the Bradley Dack, essentially. I'm just looking at the comments. Chris G has put Tomlinson, Harper and Etuhu. I think we almost put Tomlinson in. I think I did say to put him in at the time, but last night when me and Dan were making the list, I think he claimed that he didn't want him in. So, Chris, I'm with you on the list anyway. Rakeem Harper, Dan seems to know more about him than I do. I seem to briefly remember him in that season and him just going back out on to West Brom at the time. He seems to be more of a promising player rather than a player, essentially. So Ben Gladwin goes in with Danny Murphy next to him. What a centre midfield partnership that is. But next to them, oh God, there's a lot, isn't there? Jack Byrne was naff. Guthrie was okay compared to the rest. Spearing was non-essential. And I think it's got to come down to the man with the 5-year match-fixing ban. So I read up about this. It was when he was in Sweden. He went to the goalkeeper during training and offered him 160 grand to put in a poor performance, and it somehow got found out. obviously, he isn't the top, sharpest tool in the shed, is he? He must have had a big bet on the other team that week. A Dixon who for me, 24 appearances over 2 seasons. Got a goal, you know. Danny Murphy got a couple. Ben Gladwin sadly didn't. It's a shame for him. Well, or is it? Because I mean, look at the mobility of that centre mid.
I mean, I think Ben Gladwin's hair gets him in there enough.
Yeah. So what you got to do now is you got to put Danny Murphy as sort of a sweeper centre mid, you know, like a Gerrard-esque at Liverpool, and then you got Ben Gladwin as the attacking mid, free roaming centre mid, sort of John Buckley-esque, and then you got your ball winning centre mid of Dixon Atuhu in there. I think it's a well-rounded centre midfield trio, and it's hard to disagree with that, isn't it? I mean, the likes of Paul Pakpan and Guthrie could even dream of being in this team. So I'm sure one day when we have the money to send over the awards, I'm sure it'll be on the Wikipedia as well in the honours next to it. When Dixon Atuhu is out of prison, he can find the Wikipedia with him with this award, and I'm sure he'll be happy. I'm sure he'll be happy about that. I think we've got to go next with. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to link wingers and strikers together. So I'm not too sure what's going to come up in this video. Oh, we're just going to say forwards. Cheers. That makes it easier. Forwards. Now, we're going to start off with the first nomination. And I think it is, if we just get the picture up now, Liam Feeney. And he has the unique position of having 2 spells at Rovers in the last 10 years, with 6 appearances in 2013-14 and 44 appearances in 16-18. He's currently at Scunthorpe. Next is Madhu Barrow. Look at him. It's never a great sign when you can't see the plane for us, is it? 5 appearances, and I will butcher this.
I actually forgot what he looked like.
Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors in Japan, I think that is. Yep, 5 appearances. I think he went back out to Swansea at the time. Next up is Casey Palmer. Look at that. Such a promising player, but such a flop. 17 appearances. He's still in the Championship with Coventry City. And here we go with the strikers now. Leon Best. There he is. 16 games.
Certainly wasn't the best, though, was he?
For the strikers, I'll make you guess how many goals that they've scored. Leon Best in 16 games. How do you think he scored?
3.
Wow, you're positive. He scored a whole 2. He's currently retired. David Goodwillie. Christ. 34 appearances. Scott, how many do you think he scored in them 34?
2.
5. A whole 5 goals.
Wow.
I know. I think he's. Yeah.
I think he cost about £3 million as well.
Yeah, back then he was known as the Scottish Wayne Rooney, wasn't it? By Steve Keane. I seem to remember something like that. He was in the Premier League season and then ended up with us in the Championship season. So he just makes it. He's currently at Wraith Rovers. Next up on the list, and we're getting into these players that all fit the mold of what on earth. DJ Campbell, 16 appearances, Scott. How many goals did he score?
Oh, 3.
Big fat 0. Luke Varney, who is the cover boy today, repping a terrible away kit with a vest underneath. 26 appearances. Scott, how many goals do you think he scored?
1.
0 again. The last 2 have
0
both been
again.
retired. As I mentioned before, under the Kosh's very own Chris Brown. 41 appearances. How many goals? I think this one's obvious.
Is it not 42?
Oh, that makes it worse than 42.
Absolutely none.
None. They're for vibes. This player, Dan had to let me know who he was. Paul Taylor.
Oh, I do remember Paul Taylor.
Look at this guy, right? 5 appearances in the 14-15 season. He currently plays at Sandbach in the Northwest Counties League Division 1, so not even the Premier League. He's still 34. He looks about 40 in that image. How many goals do you think he scored in them 5 games? I don't think it'll come as a shock.
Don't think it's any, is it?
No, it's 0. I forgot about the zebra kit as well. Next up on the list, residential Lancashire born and bred Nathan Delfonso. Seems to be anyway, because he's played in every single team around here: Blackburn, Burnley, Blackpool, Bolton, and
Just
now
joined Aki.
Yep. How many goals do you think he scored in them 16 appearances?
I'm going to say 1.
Oh, you're being harsh here. A big fat 2. 2 scored. So it wasn't a fluke, that first goal. Next up is Bengali Foda Koita. Wow. Wait, he was in that season. Wow, okay. He was in the 15-16 season, 14 appearances. How many do you think he scored?
None.
You're right with that one. He now plays for Trabzonspor in the top Turkish division, and he was at the last African Cup of Nations. So,
who was it that signed at the same time as him? Or am I?
At the time, there was a lot. When we had, was it Sacha Pechi?
Yeah, Sacha Pechi.
Yeah,
that's
Dan's just put in the private chat. Pechi, yeah. Sacha Pechi sadly cannot be on the list because he played 0 games, as well as Brian Dabo as well. And finally on our list of, this list has been amazing, to be honest with you. It's such a glut of unbelievable strikers. Anthony Stokes, 14 appearances. How many goals did he score in that season?
1.
He scored 4.
Did he?
He did.
Do you know? Do you want to know a little fun fact about Anthony Stokes? On his Wikipedia page, it completely skips over his time at Rovers and simply just says, after spending a season with Blackburn Rovers, he joined Hibs. Just completely skips over his time like it didn't exist.
That's probably better than most people.
Probably for the best.
Remember Anthony Modeste, says Brian, who was awful and went on to tear up in the Bundesliga. We were going to put Modeste in, but sadly it was 11 years ago. So it wasn't in the last 10 seasons, sadly. I remember that was in the Premier League season. But yes, he was for Cologne. And this naive Steve says, is this a list of forwards or crime watch? I mean,
could be either.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple on here that have a Wikipedia segment about themselves. If anyone wants to go and look it up, I'm pretty sure you know who it is. Yeah, there's a big read about it. It's a fun read. It's one to settle down to bed to with a little drink by your side. Just to calm the nerves and settle down to sweet dreams. So there's a lot of players there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can make a full 11 out of these. So we put 3 strikers there. I like Ross's comment here. It says Paul Fruit of the Loom Taylor. That's the share, isn't it? The company where you get like a £1 share, and it's like, yeah, that's perfect summarization of how he looks on that image. Because why is he wearing jeans?
I mean,
there is a lot here, isn't there?
Can there be any arguments for Chris Brown up front? 42 games.
Yeah.
42 games without a goal when your only job is to score goals.
He was in a league. He was in a system that was perfect for him as well. He was in a team. He was putting Josh King and Gusted out at one point. And Gusted scored 20-odd goals that season as well. So there's no excuse as well.
I mean, I've actually got a story about Chris Brown.
Go on.
My sister once went up to him at a party and just asked him if he was ever going to score.
Yeah.
And she was overheard by the likes of Elliot Ward, Hope Akpan, Chris Taylor, and they all decided to egg her on and get her to ask him things like, is he dieting right? Is he training right? And so she did.
Oh wow, okay. Did she have a few lemonades that night before?
She just didn't care, I don't think.
I don't think he did either. So I think, yeah, Chris Brown. I mean, it's like Danny Murphy. Get in there, mate. Get in there. Add to the mobility. Naive Steve says Taylor looks like he's turned up to watch a game and the team's short of players. That's it. It looks like he's just arrived in a team full of cars and he's just spotted someone on the sideline. We've got 10 players. We need one more. Perfect summarization of him. I forgot he even existed, to be honest with you. So, like the centre mids, I think we've got to pick one each, or we can go to the viewers. What do you think?
Oh, let's see what everyone's thinking.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of Stokes on here. There's a lot of Stokes. There's a lot of good Willies as well. There's a lot of their time in prison. Stokes is currently. Wait, what was that? Oh, he's currently on the run. Something that couldn't be said about. If that's true, yeah, fair play.
Have we got another match fixer as well in DJ Campbell?
Oh, really?
I think so.
It's hard to list.
I think he actually got charged with that when he was at Rovers.
Oh, brilliant! Great. Didn't affect his play though, did it?
No. I think it just goes to show when you try match fixing so that you actually look good and you still don't.
I know, that's it. I think the issue is with the likes of DJ Campbell, Varney, Delfonso. They were sort of in the era of we'll just be a secondary player behind Rhodes and Gusted. I think maybe even, they were always going to be a player that just came off the bench. And it says 16 appearances, 14 appearances, etc. But how many minutes were they?
Yeah.
But I think I don't think we can ignore the fact that off the issue performances, like I don't know how to explain it, can with Stokes and Goodwillie, I don't think we can look past them, to be honest with you. They were so poor for Rovers.
Yeah.
I mean, we've even got the likes of Feeney coming back and having a great second.
I mean, I have no idea how he ever played for us, let alone on the wing. Like, I don't even think he can run, can he?
No, yeah, that's
it. He was so slow.
Yeah, so I think honourable mentions for strikers. I think Leon Best. I don't know how he made a living for us. He was in that Danny Murphy era. Who would you have? How would you set up that front three then?
I think you'd have to put Chris Brown in middle.
Not on the wing, no.
No.
Look at that! You got Amari Bell and Bradley Orr overlapping the sort of fullback roles, and then you'd have Chris Brown as a target man up there, or the one to hold up and soak up the play. You've got inverted wingers in Anthony Stokes and David Goodwillie running on the wing. To be fair, if he makes this team, then the court might end up finding him, so he might actually turn up. What is he actually? What did he get done for? Is that something we shouldn't mention?
I think it is something we shouldn't mention. Okay,
that's fine. Brian says Best started well, then had a bad injury. Did he not? I think he scored against Derby on his debut. I seem to remember something. I think I remember that. But yeah, I think when he came back, he just his legs were shot. He was done essentially at Rovers and wasn't great. Wasn't a good player, and he was on 30 grand a week as well, like Murphy. So at a time where we needed the money the most, he was hemorrhaging us. Christ, this has been a lovely hour, hasn't it? I
have to say, when we got past the back four, I didn't think it was gonna. I thought it was gonna take longer to get through the midfield and forwards because there was just that many of them.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to take longer, to be honest.
And it's such an indictment in how we've been in the last 10 seasons, the sort of the players that we've just threw money at and just wasted on. And it sort of shows that how well we've done off from the Mowbray era, essentially, on our sort of recruitment, and how little players there have been in the last few seasons. I think there's only Ainsley Pears, and even he didn't really have a mention, did he? In the Rovers squad round, he's just there to be a sixth player.
I mean, I think Ainsley. I agree that he should be there because he has been poor but he did show some promising saves in pre-season, and when TK was injured last season, he did manage to step up to the mark for those few games. So I think we've got to give him a pass.
Yeah, and it's difficult for a goalkeeper just coming in like that, just sort of cold every game. I suppose that's what they're paid to do, but obviously what you want as a goalkeeper is to play week in, week out. So there was a lot of play. I mean, Luke Weiler and Steele were 10 times as worse. Like, and I think I was just looking at the list now. I think Diavasio, Zifweek, and McGlure, who made the team, just he was poor, to be fair. The only two the last few seasons that we've got there, Maury Bell was there a couple of seasons ago, but everybody else seems to be in that sort of 2014 to 2017 era, which sort of, explains why we probably did get relegated then. But guys, let me know what you think of that team. Let me know let me know if there's anybody else that needs to be in that team in the comments below. And like we said at the start of the video, for the FCAs, please go and vote us. We're in the final 8. It doesn't go off just the viewers' votes, but it also goes off the judges as well. But it's like a half and half. There is the team. Jason Steele in goal. Bradley Orr, Shane Duffy, Tyler McGlure. Wes Brown did well, didn't he? Amari Bell, Danny Murphy, Ben Gladwin, Dixon Atuhu, Anthony Stokes, David Goodwillie, and Chris Brown. Scott, any final words?
I think we've managed to sum up a team that could not win anything, so I think we've succeeded.
Yeah, I think League 2 in a couple of years. That's the aim, that's the dream, and that's the hope. So, guys,
I'm pretty sure Ryan Reynolds Wrexham could beat that team. So,
yeah, we need a Netflix documentary out on us now soon, and that'll be a great viewing. So, guys, like we said, please subscribe.
The only time when you could have suggested Butterworth and you didn't.
I'll never mention him. He had an assist again for Portsmouth yesterday, so I'm hoping he has a good career at Rovers still. Now, that's the end of the video, guys. I'm first time hosting this, so I'm not really sure how it ends. So I'm just going to be like, please subscribe to the channel, guys. Please like the video. Comments below will be much appreciated, and we'll be back soon. So I'll see you later, guys. Scott, see you in a bit.
See you later.